Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Panda Props and Costumes channel. Super excited today to start a new video tutorial series on how to build and construct your own Stormtrooper armor. I get lots of messages and emails and questions all the time about how to actually start that process. But first and foremost, you want to make sure that you visit the 501st Legion. So the 501st Legion is a Star Wars charity costuming group that's devoted to supporting local charities and different community groups and causes. And they have thousands of members all over the world. So if you want more information about Stormtroopers, definitely check them out and how you can wear your costume and be able to kind of give back to the community as well too. Another couple websites you definitely want to check out are whitearmor.net. They are the first Imperial Stormtrooper Detachment, so they're a specialty forum group that's dedicated to the research and information about Stormtroopers from the original trilogy. You also want to check out mepd.net, which is the Mos Eisley Police Department, and that detachment is devoted to Sandtroopers. So as we construct this armor, we're going to be referring to both types of costumes. And just so you know, we are going to be building a set of RT mod armor, but the tutorials themselves will be applicable to any type of armor make. And for more information about armor types and where to find them, check out those websites I listed. You'll find them in the show notes as well too. But we'll be covering everything from how to trim the armor, how to prepare it, how to assemble it, all the tools that you'll be needing and all the supplies that you'll be needing as well too. And hopefully at the end of the series you will have your very own Stormtrooper. We'll be starting with the body armor first, and then we'll be finishing up with the helmet. So a little bit about this, a little bit of information about this particular type of armor. Again, it's RT mod, and they've been making this armor for a good number of years, and their armor is fairly specific. It's the original Stormtrooper armor for Husky troopers. All of the armor is fan sculpted and fan made, and it's basically scaled up about 5% or so. So it's made for bigger troopers. But I'm going to be helping out a friend today, and super excited he's here. So we're going to be working together, and we'll be sizing the armor and fitting the armor to him, so that hopefully by the end of the video tutorial series, he will be a Stormtrooper. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial series. Let's start with this piece. This is pretty cool. This is the abdomen, and this is a newer version that I can see. It's a little bit more detailed. The size is a little bit bigger, and it's kind of got this nice shape to it.
Yeah, and a little bit more accurate. You can see they've changed. Now the button panel is no longer molded in. It's a separate piece, like the original. And the detail down here, just some changes to the details that are much more accurate to the original, but at the same time scaled up to fit someone like myself who is not a thin dude.
Right.
And
so
yeah.
What's the approximate? It's kind of like 5%-ish, a little bit bigger?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. About 5%. That kind of accommodates, from the original suit that was, the 5'10", thin 170-pound person to the 6'2", 3. I think they're saying like up to about 6'5" even, and if you're 200 plus pounds, 240 pounds, kind of depending how it's distributed.
Right.
Yeah, that's about the scale up. And I know they made the helmet 5% bigger for just that reason, so that it looks proportionate with the rest of the armor that's all been scaled up as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So some of the details I noticed, the button strip's got like a little slot here, and got the little washer and this little opening. This is particular to the Sandtrooper in that if you didn't do anything else, so you just added the 3-button strip here. This is sort of Sandtrooper ready. And then
which is, I think you mentioned one of your earlier videos that like the Sandtroopers were the first ones to
That's
be
right.
made, and so this is what they started with. And then for the Death Star Troopers, they added some stuff on there to change the look a bit.
George wanted a little more detail.
Wanted more, yeah.
Actually, and while we're just talking about this, it's here's a back plate. Kind of got the 011 symbol on it. But the plastic in particular that I've kind of found, it's really nice. It's not crazy thick. It's captured the detail quite nicely. I've seen and helped a friend work on an RT Stormtrooper before, and it was a slightly whiter plastic. But this one's really nice. It's looks a bit updated, and it's shiny. And it's not pure white. It's ever so slightly off-white, which is great.
Well, no, they found a really good plastic because the shine is kind of there to begin with, as opposed to styrene, which most people know is kind of got that more of a cloudy finish. You can shine it up, but this, like right off the shelf, the plastic as it comes from the supplier, it's got a nice kind of gloss to it, and the thinner plastic they're using now is getting that real nice detail that we saw for the back mold and for the abdomen as well. Yet you can feel it, right? It's got weight to it. It's sturdy.
Yeah, it's not floppy at all.
It's not floppy at all. No.
That's good. This I know is a newer piece in that it's a slightly longer kidney than the previous version.
Again, to facilitate the
taller troopers. Yeah, and then it's got this nice kidney notch as well too. So this is kind of detail that was seen in some of the original Stormtrooper armor, and that they had this notch cut out, and now it's been formed in, which is nice because you get the little return there.
A small detail, but again, much more accurate to the originals.
Yep.
For those people who want that kind of accuracy.
And I'm just going to grab the butt plate here, which is not, super different. I think the shapes here on the sides have been kind of accurized a little bit, if that's a word. But now if you kind of hold the two up, you can kind of see where that notch lines out. I'm just going to play this to the camera a little bit. Sorry for my arm. But you can see that the notch lines up there now with the butt plate, which is...
Along with the back seam.
Yeah, and the back.
When that's lined up, you're getting the line up at the front as well.
Oh, so that looks really, really good. Let's move on to the chest. Same thing. I don't think this has changed from the previous version, but really, really nice. And I think one of the... I've seen kind of on white armor, FISD, is that people sometimes want to look for a slightly bigger chest, and so this is a nice piece to come along with the kit too. Yeah, really, really nice. The plastic's super, super good. And this is interesting. The cod is separate from the abdomen, and I guess that's to provide a little bit of movement, a little bit extra.
I like the idea of the two pieces being separate, just for the sole purpose of actually being able to move around with a little bit of comfort.
Yep.
Obviously, with them attached, it restricts you to a certain degree. So my preference is the separation.
Oh.
And really, looking at the suit practically, you can't tell, right? You wouldn't know.
No, and if someone really, really wanted to, they could join the two pieces together,
yeah,
right?
They could trim them up as needed and glue them together. Yeah,
awesome.
For sure.
So calves and shins, these are all kind of nicely labeled so that you know what's a left and a right. So you get a left inner, left outer.
Yeah.
And you've got a right inner and right outer as well too. Very cool. And these are obviously a little bit bigger as well.
Yeah, a little bit longer, a little bit wider, to accommodate, again, people with a bit of a thicker build.
Sure.
And same with the thighs.
Yeah, so now we're on to the thighs. Now, I know these are interesting because the RT kit that I helped a friend build a while ago, they had shorter thighs. And these are actually longer. So measuring them, they were, almost a couple inches longer now. So as I understand it, there's a couple different sizes available to suit different heights of troopers?
Yeah, they are offering the ability to, depending on the height of the trooper. Yeah, if you're a little bit longer in the leg versus the torso, they've got the longer ones. I'm kind of average size, so
but supersized personality, which is what's important. Awesome,
exactly.
Cool. Moving on to the arms, this is really kind of different. So same thing, based on the previous kit that I helped a friend with. These arms now, the inner forearm, the outer forearm, the biceps, they have all been updated. So this is much kind of curvier than before. It's got a bit more shape to it. I know that it's a little bit longer as well too. The previous one had a deeper cut in the opening, and this is nice in that it doesn't have the ridge formed here, so that offers a little bit more flexibility in terms of sizing.
Got that open there.
You've got an extra set of hands.
That's right.
Put them to good use. And this is a new outer forearm as well too. So the previous RT kit had this ladder that it's sort of called, kind of stopped a little bit early from the edges of the armor, and now this one's full length. And it's kind of got this nice curvier shape to it. So when you put them together, it allows this sort of flexibility, right? If you're a bigger trooper, you can make it big. If you're a little bit skinnier, you can make it a little bit skinnier, and then they can be glued together. I know that on the originals, and we'll be talking about this more when we trim it, some people leave a little bit of a return there. Some people cut it all the way off. It's kind of up to you, depending on kind of the level of accuracy you want to achieve. And on the White Armor website, or First Imperial Stormtrooper Detachment, they have these kind of fun levels of accuracy that you can try and shoot for. They have, your basic 501st approval, and then you have Expert Infantry, which is the next level up, and then you have Centurion, which is the highest level. And so it's kind of nice to see these upgrades on the armor because, people will be able to achieve those higher levels of accuracy with not a lot of extra work.
Yeah, with a bit of minimal effort, like right out of the box, you're getting really, really close to getting that high standard, right? Very, very close to the originals.
Very cool.
Very
so
close.
We've now got inner bicep. I know this shape's kind of been tweaked a little bit. It looks a little bit more curved now here, and there's a bit of an angle, and this opening here is slightly different too. It's a little bit more accurate to kind of the original armor. And this is all, since we're talking about it, it's fan sculpted armor. This is not, it doesn't have any direct lineage to the screen used because everything's been sized up. So this is all, as I understand it, kind of plaster over, a body, and then, everything being kind of sculpted on top from scratch. So it's kind of nice to see that even after so many years, the armor's been refined to make it and update it, make it that much more accurate.
Yeah, and so there's the purists that want all the nooks and crannies and bends and folds of the originals that have been found over the years. But as a result of that age, you can see some of the asymmetry and such. But with the fan sculpt, some of that gets removed to make it a cleaner, yet pays respect to the original.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is, I know a lot of people like the RT mod because it's got that, fresh off the Death Star factory floor kind
right from the Imperial armor.
That's right. So that's kind of neat. Shoulder bells. These are obviously bigger than other makes. Mm-hmm. It's nice that it's got the return on the bottom, and it's got more of a swoopier shape to it than previous versions or other types of armor. So that's kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
We're moving on to some smaller pieces. Got the belt and the thigh ammo strip.
Yeah, the knee ammo, or knee boxes in particular, are a fairly significant change from the older RT ones. They were quite a bit thinner and closer spaced, and just really didn't look as close to the accuracy as they should for the size of suit. So now they've obviously changed that, and we've got something that looks actually pretty darn nice. You can see the difference. Quite a bit bigger.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then the belt is also scaled a bit, bigger, a little bit more accurate in size as well too. And I notice now they're marking the edges so that you know exactly where to trim it. And this is this will meet the Centurion qualifications. So
right.
It's about 40-ish millimeters up past the end of the box, and it's got these angled corners that aren't quite 45 degrees, but
yeah, and
based on
they've
research,
marked where
right.
the kit comes with the separate
buttons, right?
Formed buttons that can be put on there. So you cut those out, it's marked for you. That's where it goes.
Glue them on. There we go. A couple smaller pieces. Got the knee armor. Sorry, it's a little dusty there. Which is also really nice. The detail is super, super sharp on this, almost to the point where you can kind of see some of that original webbing that happened on the originals as well too. Yeah. We've got new hand plates. I know these look a little bit different than the originals as well too. There's a new mold made. You can see there's now a step in this piece of the hand plate, and the shape's a bit different. And then this curved part, it's a little bit thicker as well too. So it's
again much more accurate to the original
Yep.
movie suits than what was previously supplied.
Yep. Very cool. Got shoulder bridges. These are obviously go on the chest, and then they kind of overlap the back armor. And in the originals, they were glued in the front, and then they had like little white elastics to hold them down.
Yeah.
And I know that when I've helped friends build their kits, Usually what we'll do is we'll sand these down and we'll curve them a little bit so that you don't have to kind of rely on the elastic, because the originals used a really, really, really thin plastic to the point where they were super floppy and bendable, but then they broke a lot too. So it's nice to see these are kind of sturdy.
Yeah, and the fact that they've been molded with a
the curve into
them,
yeah,
it makes a big difference too.
It's really good. Oh, I forgot to mention the belt is trimmed really, really close to the edge, which is kind of nice to see. It doesn't have all this extra plastic. It's actually nice to see that on most of the pieces. Kind of calling this close trimmed now, but as a builder, I mean, I've probably built 20 helmets. I've built almost 10 suits of armor, and like most I've seen don't come this trimmed, which is really, really nice to see.
Well, and trimmed in such a way that, depending on your personal preference, you know, how much return you want to put in there, right? What you feel you want to have.
Yeah, whether it's a little bit thicker or a little bit shallower for comfort, but at least the plastic's there for you to do something with, right? If it's trimmed off, then it's kind of hard to get the return. I know if you probably look up some of the show notes, I've got a trick in there for how to do return edges on armor with like a little heat sealing iron, and that's a really arduous process to try to add that after the fact. So it's nice to see that the returns are nice and deep.
And of course, you risk the chance of ruining the piece.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
having to start all over again.
Thermal detonator. So it's got the control plate and the end caps here for your pipe, and it comes with a piece of pipe too. I've already taken this one and painted it gray. Sometimes it comes black, sometimes it comes gray, but at least you get that with your kit, and it's kind of one less thing you have to get. So that's it for the body armor. You're probably wondering where the helmet is. We're going to save the helmet for a separate video, so hopefully that's a good introduction to all the pieces so far. Let's get right to the next video. We're going to start sizing some things up. All right.